were a bit raunchy and raucous.
We kept you on a really short leash.
Nice to be on someone's leash sometimes.
I was gonna say, with that hair, you better play an instrument. It is so rock and roll. I love it.
I think she's a they. That didn't come out right. Can you do this for, a donut?
People will do anything for a t-shirt.
That's like genius.
I am so looking forward to this. If you see me doing this,
Yeah.
because
There.
there's a very important football game on right now to see who the England women play. Right now, it's Germany versus France. So whoever wins is who we play in the final for the
wow.
for the Euro. So I will be doing this, and I apologize. I'm actually
Big stuff.
Yeah, big important stuff. Forgot all about it, or I probably would have scheduled this for a day later. Okay. It's okay. All right. So let's see. We have got Kuan-Wen Huang, who is a very funny queer comedian that's doing a show at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I can't wait to meet him because this
Me
show
too.
sounds funny, hilarious. So let's come in here and find out what's happening.
Let's do it.
Let's. Hey.
Hey.
Hello. Hi.
Hello. Oh, look at you with that cherub face. How cute are you?
I'm naked. Hello from Taipei. It's 4 a.m. in the morning.
Oh my God. I thought you were here already.
No, I just so happened to be back home for a week and actually back home country. I'm now in a hotel room, but
Oh God, I'm so sorry.
no, don't be. I'm very glad that I'm invited on, so that's my honor.
Oh, thank you so much for saying that. I was just saying to JD, your show, which is called
Yes.
Andrews Are the Worst.
Yes, because they are, aren't they?
We're right up there with the Sharons and the Karens and the Chads. Honestly.
I think there's a bit unfairness in that there has been a Karen, but there hasn't been a male equivalent, right?
Yeah.
So speaking of Karen, I didn't know exactly when that was coined, but I was doing like a 45-minute show back in 2017. And in it, I had a whole bit about having a fallout with the HR manager of my then employer. She was an utter useless parasite, a corporate parasite.
Oh.
And I remember one of the punchline after describing this sort of stupid behaviors first. I just say that, but why is there always a Karen in HR? And I remember loving lying so much, but then when Karen became a word itself, that I just couldn't do it.
Ahead of your time, for sure.
Yeah, perfect. Way to jump on that bandwagon. But you are correct.
Credit for that.
Yeah. I feel like you're right about like we need a male equivalent,
Yeah.
because we do see some Chads.
Yeah.
I feel like Chads are more like the collegiate prep douche, the douchebag collegiate prep guy.
Sweater around the neck.
we need an Andrew to kind of bring it home.
Well, I think it's a bit more difficult because I feel like the kind of typical name for a specific that kind of man is very different in different Anglophone countries.
Yes.
So chat, for example, I rarely bump into one in the UK. So it may be more like a Gary or Darren, but I don't know what Australia and what Canada's go for. And secondly, I think that there are ample words to describe them. So in the UK, you would call them a nonce. But technically speaking, a nonce should be a sex predator, but I think it's being used a lot more loosely.
Yeah,
we don't know. Maybe they just haven't been caught yet. So
I will say, like, I've been here 14 years now, and discover new insults every day. From like bell end to melt to, I mean, there's so many.
What does melt mean?
Is good. Melt is just like a jerk.
Yeah. Okay.
Typical jerk. Yeah. Quit being a melt. But yeah, every day there's a new one.
All right, I went a bit into the off chart.
It's okay. It's okay. We do this with every guest. But I'm really excited because now you are the second guest that we've had that is doing a show at Edinburgh Fringe. And
Yeah.
I'm over here in the UK and I know what a big deal it is to do a show at the Fringe. And I also know how much work goes into it.
Yeah.
A ridiculous amount of work. Um, it's
It's an abusive relationship, basically.
yeah, yeah, that's so true. But it's like it's long days, it's consecutive days, it's very little time off. Um, and it's in the summer, so you never know if it's gonna be hot, rainy, damp, clammy. I mean, you don't know what the weather's gonna
Outside.
be,
It's all
Did you just
outside.
say? Can I also phrase you? You say it's in a. You don't mean like it's in a stomach, like tear stomach. What was the phrase you
Oh no,
used? 'Cause
summertime.
oh, summer. I thought it's in a stomach. So what kind of new phrases have I missed because I was away?
No,
I've been
no.
away from the
It's
UK for 2 days.
literally
He's like, am I missing an insult?
Yeah, exactly. No,
It could be a new one. I mean, I hate to criticize the current government. I think we need to give them time. But in a stomach sounds like a promising phrases to be
it's
called.
it's
See,
you
now
know
I
what?
didn't.
It's cuspy. We're on the cusp over here,
Mhm.
dipping a toe into like what America's getting into, and you can only hope that the wave that we've seen, like Germany saying no to the alt-right, and France saying no and voting against it. Can only hope that the
Is
UK.
it no or not yet though? It's like
No,
I'm
that's
probably
what
a bit
worries
of
me.
pessimist.
That is 100% what worries me. So yeah, you're right. It's touchy over here as well. Nowhere
Yeah.
near as bad as the States, but touchy. Yeah.
Okay,
So
I try not to
so I
interrupt you.
no, it's okay. So tell us a little bit about, first of all, how you came up with the show, and
Hmm.
second of all, is there things in your upbringing or whatever that you've kind of used a little bit in this show?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, how I came up with the show up to April this year, I wasn't even sure that I wanted to go to Edinburgh Fringe this year because Oasis is doing a tour that included some dates in August, and it may really impact the sort of box office. So I thought I did my first solo show, what we call the debut, in 2023. And last year, I stayed 2 weeks in London, mainly to watch Olympics, and I went up just to watch shows and do a mixed bill show. So then I thought, you know what, the whole media landscape, the sort of comedy industry landscape seems to be changing. It makes more sense to have more followers on social media that sells more ticket.
Yeah.
Traditionally, the
Yes.
wisdom is Edinburgh Fringe is the best opportunity to get exposed to so many people in one go. So if you keep doing it, you will start to build your followers up
Yes.
to a point you can do a small scale UK tour and the tour will get bigger. So that was the traditional wisdom.
Yeah.
I don't think that works exactly the same way. It still works, but it's too slow. If you manage to go viral, then you are able to sell tickets a lot more quickly. So I was thinking maybe I should just pool my money and maybe like hire a social media manager. I was torn what to do in this era post-pandemic. Should I try to make more effort digitally? And but there are smaller festival before Edinburgh, and you had to register very early. So I just registered some of them just in case. Then I
Oh,
decided the
yeah.
financial constraint is kind of big. I'm just gonna do a funny show and put it out on YouTube eventually. And that was my idea. And by April, somehow someone told me, we have a vacant spot. Do you want it? And they seem to have a fairer financial deal. So I took it and here I am. And how I came up with a show, I don't know if you know that there's kind of a paradigm of how an Edinburgh show should be. It has to have a narrative and it has to be a bit more theater-like. It has to address something quite serious, even dark. And then at the 45 minute, you make audience sad. You know, there's a specific kind of Edinburgh Fringe show for the last 10 or 15 years. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do just a very silly show. And I really got a text from my ex again in January, like first day of January this year. And this ex, I've kind of told him that I do not want to hear from you whatsoever again. But he would, so I would not reply, and then he would send again. I would block the number. He would then change the number, or he would try my Instagram account, or he would try my Facebook. Some people think I secretly enjoy this. Maybe I do, but I was really furious. Like, do you think that you're honestly the person I want to hear from when I start a new year? You fuck you. So I was so angry. I was so angry. The swear words in my brain formed a little joke already. So when I thought, if I'm not going to Edinburgh, I need to do a new show. What should be my theme? And I decided, you know what, I'm gonna trash my exes. And I say exes because this one annoyed me, but there was another one that really annoyed me, and they were both co-Andrews. I thought, why don't I just put them together?
I was going to ask you, were they both Andrew by any chance?
It's not just that they were both called Andrew, they actually share the same initials. So they're both AB. Their surname both start with B. And I remember, so like the first one was a bit of like commitment phobic, right? I remember buying him a pair of cufflinks, and he said that I do not want to accept gifts from you because he thinks that would lead us into a sort of commitment pause or something. So so little thrift Timmy actually kept that pair of cufflinks, tried to give it to the second one, and got rejected for similar.
He regifted him. I love it.
Yeah.
Funny.
And the title came out as one like a green room talk. I remember talking to, when all the bad press about Prince Andrew and Andrew Tate just keep coming up, it almost become like a staple. I once jokingly say to someone, you see that Andrews are the fucking worst because two of my exes were both Andrews and they were both assholes. And this idea just stayed in my brain. I never thought I would write a joke about this. But after the January text, unsolicited text, and I was like, I'm gonna have a big, long, good old-fashioned rant. How should I call the comedy show? And I decided to just call it Andrews Are the Worst because they are. And
Your experience with Andrews.
Brilliant. Absolutely.
And I think it because it's so stupid. People know I don't mean 100%. I mean 99.9%.
Just your Andrew.
99.9. Yeah, but I mean, seriously, when you lump in Prince Andrew and then Andrew Tate, I mean, it's.
Do you know who is called Andrew?
Who else?
The CEO that got caught at Coldplay concert.
Really?
Andy Byron.
Andy Byron. Yes. And this yet to be verified, but according to Daily Mail, which is a horrible newspaper,
Really?
that woman, that she's a married woman, and her husband is also called Andrew, and it's not a white Caucasian, it's not a Caucasian CEO. She clearly misunderstood her job title. People is not a verb, right? She was peopling up.
Wow, that was the way that took off was absolutely insane.
If I ever perform this show in America, Andrew Cuomo is also an Andrew. Am I right?
There you go.
Yes.
Maybe you're onto something there, Quan. You really are.
It's beautiful.
I want to ask you guys something about the Edinburgh. What are the
Edinburgh. I can't do it perfectly, but there's a very Scottish way. It's not borough, but it's Edinburgh.
So that is where is that? Is that in England or in Scotland?
It's in Scotland. It's the capital of Scotland, and so on the British Isle, remember, like imagine Maggie Smith sitting down for stool, and you can see that long head. So Edinburgh is somewhere here. I'm sorry, she's dead. I feel so disrespectful.
It's so funny.
It's a festival that people perform in, and they perform every day. The same people.
Yeah, it's a month long. It's August, right?
It's the largest art festival in the whole world, and it started because the real name technically is called Edinburgh Festival Fringe. Prior to the Fringe Festival, there was the official festival, but Fringe has become so large, it's now larger than the actual original festival.
Yeah. I mean, if you can imagine pubs, theaters, small venues,
Oh, okay.
cafes, like
Oh, that
every
kind of a
single one of
thing.
them, there's a
Got
show
it.
going on. Yeah, and there's
It
people
Okay.
was
in the
it
street
was
flyering you
mm,
constantly.
I
You know?
see.
Yeah,
Because ever since we had Bryn on the show,
yeah,
I've it's been coming up so much. I've never heard of it before her.
it's
And like
huge.
Rosie O'Donnell was talking about that she's been rehearsing her stand up for that. And
Yeah,
then yesterday I saw an old interview with B. Arthur before she passed, and she was being interviewed in Scotland, and she said 2 years ago. At that time, she had been at that festival. So I'm like, wow, this is like, I didn't know anything
it's
about it. Like,
iconic. It's really
it's
iconic, and
like, it's a big deal.
yeah, and the thing of it is that it's I like it's become like don't do you remember what 2 years ago we had Lara King on the show and she was
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about the show that she was going to do. So
yeah, yeah,
every year just before August I love to have people
yeah.
on and that are going to be there and
Interesting.
promote it because the only other way it's really hard to get the word out. Like
Yeah,
like you guys like you said social media is literally the way to go now.
right.
If you
Yeah,
have
yeah.
the followers, yeah, they're going to see your promotion of the show. But if you don't have the followers, it's a little bit harder to get the word out as opposed to paying someone to flyer people in the street day in and day out,
yeah,
get people to come.
it's I would say it's so complex. It's an organic object and it keeps evolving. I don't know if you watch Baby Reindeer. It was actually depicted in Baby Reindeer, and
Oh,
he got a shit venue and he performed to like a handful of audience. So he was sold the dream that this is where you go big, you'll be seen by the industry.
Yeah.
But when the festival is so large, they also mean that there will be so many participants. The chances that
right.
you put everything in and it just no one know what happened, no one actually sees you is also possible.
Yes.
And
Very
Yeah, like
possible.
needle in a haystack kind of a thing.
Yeah. Like two
yes,
people
yes, yes.
in the venue performance.
Yeah, it is important in the UK is because in the past there's a tradition that there's some sort of like a passage, like your coming of age should happen there. So you will only
Yeah,
be taken seriously if you have a critically acclaimed show, even got nomination or win an award. But it's funny because the skills you need to write a good stand-up solo show for an hour is not the same as improv or some other skill to write a good sitcom.
Mhm.
But there is this thinking that, oh, there's the maybe it's like a cult or it's like a trend. It's just like fashionable to go after those who get some sort of
Yeah.
credits from Edinburgh, and that's
Yeah.
why.
I mean,
Yeah, but
I
okay.
mm,
always think of
For explaining that.
right. It's really
Okay.
true because I always think of Phoebe Waller-Bridge in Fleabag.
yes,
You know,
Ah,
started there, went to the National Theater, and then it got picked up as an actual, television program, a series or whatever, and it just
yeah.
exploded. I mean, then she started writing for like other series and stuff like that, and all the people that were in it just took off too, like Andrew Scott and Olivia Colman, and so like it's you're right. It's very like it's like getting off the bus in Hollywood and thinking you're gonna make it.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
the
I
same,
hear
right?
that.
It's the same Pretty Woman thing.
Right,
You know,
right.
not everybody is gonna get that, that
Right.
deal, that
So
deal.
Yeah.
for a creative misfit, is the kids walking into a candy shop. That's the best way to describe it. Comedy overtook theater to become the largest category, but there's everything. There's cabaret, there's clowning, there's magic shows, there's children's show, there's musicals. It's the largest art festival.
Yeah.
It is draining, it is difficult, but you also never experience the same kind. I don't know, maybe it's like fisting. I mean, it's painful, but it can be enjoyable.
No, you didn't. No,
Uh,
you didn't.
interesting analogy.
That is fantastic. Oh my God. So let's talk a little bit about queer queerness. And I don't know about you, but I feel like there's like an uptick in queer artists and performances, and we're finally being seen and celebrated. Like
Mm,
one of the inspirations for me is Alan Cummings. I mean, he's from Scotland. He's always like done like burlesque Broadway kind of shows, indie stuff, and then all of a sudden he's everywhere because of like Traders, and that is lovely because as a host of Traders, he's celebrating his queerness. His outfits get attention every single week. People go berserk for his outfits, and he's I mean, I just saw him on a CNN special talking about it's a show called My Happy Place where celebrities talk
Mhm.
about their favorite place to be. And he, was obviously celebrating Scotland. And
Mm.
I just thought, oh my God, like here's this like news outlet and there's Alan Cumming. He's come so, so far. And we're just at that. I look at Jinx Monsoon, drag star, doing the pirate show on Broadway. And I
Mm.
just think, you know what? Yes, it's time. It is time to celebrate queerness in all its forms, whether it's comedy, performances, singing, television presentation
Yeah.
and broadcasting and stuff. So I feel like this is a really good time for you to bring your brand, to Edinburgh and just stick it in there with everybody else. You know?
I don't know. I find it hard to. So first, I thought Alan Cumming made it to America with The Good Wife.
Yes, that too. Right. He did.
So
Yeah.
I haven't watched the Trader US version, but I know he has always enjoyed a certain level of recognition.
Yeah.
And on the queer, I feel like there are two levels here. So first we're talking about, remember when Ellen DeGeneres first, so putting her bullying allegation aside, but just the fact that when she first came out and that costed her career a little bit. If you
Yeah.
think about not comedian, but Rupert Everett, right? Not until it's until I think late 80s, my best friend's wedding, he sort of coined the image of I'm your best gay friend. So he
Yeah.
managed to
Yeah.
revive his career. But
Yeah.
prior to that, he didn't come out, right? No, prior to that, he came out and that costed him as well. And
Yeah.
I think that's the same with why people are angry with Kevin Spacey, because he had a chance to come out. He never did until he was caught with sort
Right.
of
Right.
inappropriate conduct. He started to say,
Yeah.
I'm gay.
Yeah.
Um,
Right. True.
I
Celebrities
think
struggle.
there's a bit of sort of cross-Atlantic differences. I feel like America is slightly more conservative as a whole. So you would describe a bit more metropolitan or effeminate men as gay, and you say that Europeans gay. It's a comedy trope I hear quite a lot from American comics that I know of on social media. So I've always seen the United Kingdom as a whole, because this is where I perform. They are quite okay.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
He
oh,
froze.
was it him?
Yeah. I
Let's
think.
see if he bounces back.
Yeah.
Hello, are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, there you
You're
are.
good. You're
Okay.
good. Okay.
Right. We froze. Where was I? Sorry. I think it was in the
The
middle.
differences between queerness in America and queerness transatlantic over here in the UK.
Yes. So
Celebrity.
I started performing in the UK from summer 2016. I started in Berlin before that. Um, Initially, it was London, but I did try to go out of London to smaller towns and village to hone my craft. I never felt being gay is a problem, but some of the jokes, they are very crude or explicitly sexual. Some audience may have a difficult time with it. But as soon as I started performing, I feel like it was okay for me to just say I'm gay. And what is different now, I feel, is a more diversification of gay comedian style,
Hmm.
the persona they created on stage. Because when I started, there are a few more famous sort of I gay and lesbian comedian, but the media like to put them in one certain box, right? So the guy, if not trying to be very cam or even like flirting with the male member of the audience, would not be thinking you're not doing what you're supposed to do. And there's a certain image for lesbian comedian as well. And I think also even in terms of drag performer at that time had a more sort of old-fashioned drag, right?
Hmm.
So I feel in the last few years, because I've been involved in a competition called LGBTQ plus New Comedian of the Year, and I'm quite often the host of some heats or semifinal. And you see young people trying to find, but other than gay, who am I? They want to find their unique point of view,
Yeah.
and suddenly you realize that you can be gay, but not everyone has to yes queen, and not every lesbian has to wear Dr. in a sort of blurry middle ground, or but
But
before that, even if
instead of
you aren't,
being a stereotype.
Right.
even
Yeah.
if you aren't, the people in the industry will want you to pretend to be a very distinct sort of like a pole. You can be sporty, and it gets to the point because I actually wrote a piece for the list this year. Like in club, sometimes out of 5 performers, they will book 2 to 3 queer performers. And when I first started, it was not thinkable. You will be booked, but they would think that, you know what, having one gay or lesbian is enough. We don't have to. But now it also becomes our job to diversify our jokes materials. You can't just talk about the same thing. Just even if you're a gay comedian, you don't just have grinder jokes or cruising jokes, etc.
Yeah, yeah, I believe that 100%. And I think, what's good now is that there's so many social causes, I mean, so many that you can talk about and shine a light on with your platform. That before, maybe they didn't want to talk about that. They wanted to talk about, like you said, grinder and lesbians with power tools and that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
now I think that there is just a lot more people are interested in social justice and awareness. To homelessness, to feeding the poor, to the wars in Israel and Gaza and Ukraine. There is so much to be discussed when you have a platform and you're reaching a lot of people. And when you pepper in some comedy, I think it keeps people interested. That's
Yeah.
yeah. So it's a great platform. It's a good thing to have.
I think
Yeah.
you're right too. I think that
Yeah.
we were seeing for a long time a lot more out gay women than men in the comedy, in stand-up comedy.
Yeah,
I just
I do
think
too.
overall the women were more accepted, but they were a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times in the stereotype.
Hmm.
But after they
Yeah.
came out, not before they came out,
Yeah,
after they came out.
I love certain like
I think it's slightly more.
we had Dana Goldberg
Mm,
on our show, and she's like mixes in a little bit of activism into her act, and
Yeah,
and that works for her because she's not mean about it. She comes armed with
mm,
a lot of facts, But then I have like another, I don't want to say hero, but another woman that whose career I just love, and that's Carol Leifer, and she was
mm.
yeah,
one of the first female, stand-up comedians at Mitzi Shore's comedy store and stuff like that, and then went on to write for Seinfeld, and she's still out there writing in Hollywood. She writes for the Oscars like almost every year and the Emmys and all that. And it's just a
Yeah.
fantastic career because she got there without being mean, without being self-deprecating.
right,
Everybody
yeah,
knows she's out. She doesn't make that a point of her comedy.
right,
And I just,
right,
I
Yeah.
yeah,
just, I have a lot of respect for people that can do that too.
yeah.
It's a nice mixed crew that we have in our lesbian community of comedy.
Now, that is true.
Yeah,
To
I think.
not use that as the main point and have your comedy be about something else
Yeah, yeah,
that everyone relates to.
yeah.
Right. I have a couple of observation points, but I didn't want to interrupt you guys too much.
Oh, go ahead.
So
Go ahead.
I think the comedy scene is a lot more nuanced than that. So you at least in a big city like London, they are very distinct, different crowd.
Very.
And also based on your status, you can choose, are you going to do weekend club shows? Do you want to do art center shows? Are you doing your own tours? And all the audience can be different. And when you are a queer comedian, you want to ask that, are you performing predominantly to queer people? Are you performing more to a mixture? Are you performing actually
Right.
more to straight people?
Oh,
Because in the queer community, I've heard discussion that sometimes some acts can be frowned upon because they only cater for straight people. Their material actually are kind of disliked by some LGBT audiences.
yeah.
And I think on the point of self-deprecation, I personally love self-deprecation, but I think it's important to distinguish, are you making fun of yourself or your tribe? Because if you're
Right.
making fun of your tribe and your tribe is actually the disadvantaged one, then you are in a way punching down for your own personal benefit.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I like
Yeah.
to do a lot of self sort of deprecating joke, but it's more about me being silly, me being clumsy,
Sure.
but it could be me being a horny gay man. But I try to stay away from, because I'm like this, all gay men are like that. But not everyone
Yeah.
share the same philosophy.
Yes.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also am personally of the when I started comedy, one of my personal hero is Margaret Cho, and has always been Margaret Cho,
Oh,
because
yeah.
we talk about representation. She was bisexual and she was Asian in the 90s. Remember how conservative
Yes.
America was in the
Yeah.
90s? So like George Carlin, they're great. It's just like so many comedians out there. Yeah, different point of view. And some even my personal comedy hero was Margaret Cho. They were like, why? And I just thought I really hated that part when I started. And yeah, it's really funny. You have the judgmental critic that would say that, oh, they're just being gay, for example. Instead of saying that they do their job really well or they work on their craft. So I was participating in this New Art competition the first year I started doing comedy. And one of the information they want you to fill out as who's your comedy hero. And I think I mentioned Jo Brand, who is a really fantastic British
Oh,
comedian.
he's
She's a
great.
woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wrote down Tom Allen, which is a gay comedian in the
He's
UK.
fantastic. Yep.
Yes. And I wrote down Margaret Cho. But I look at the answer sheet for all other people is either Richard Pryor, Bill Burr, and George Carlin. And I think they are all great comedians. It's just like the homogeneous nature
Yeah.
of other people's answer really put me off. I thought surely we are a group of like 40, 50 people. How can you trickle down to the same answer, right? It's
Yeah.
almost like you guys are all indoctrinated. Or surely if comedy is so subjective, why am I the only odd one to have entirely different answers from you guys?
Exactly.
Shall we change the question? Maybe that
Yeah.
was better.
Let's go to okay, so
Go on to the next thing.
let's talk about
The male comedian Scott is now happy.
yes, exactly.
All right.
Let's talk a little bit about why so when your show is it the month of August? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And do you have do you know the venue you're going to be at? Because I want to make sure people know.
Yes.
Okay. Tell us.
Yes, thank you. Yes, so it's 4:30 and I will be performing in a yurt. I think that's very fringy. You should have a little no.
Okay. That's fantastic. Hope it's not too warm.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
so it is
Frozen
at the big yurt at Potter Row. Don't jinx it. Shh. Let's keep a secret. I think it'll be fine. Scotland is cooler.
Yeah, true.
But if it does get a little bit uncomfortable physically, that's the French experience.
Yeah, that's
It's
a good way
true.
to look at that. I like that. Yeah.
You know what though? The thing of it is it even when it's hot in Scotland, it's not like hot. It's worse in London, so you're probably better.
Yeah.
You're gonna be anywhere in the
You see,
summer.
this is tough. I don't want to be a climate change denier, global warming denier, but at the same time, I want to lure people to the show. So I'm just going to stay silent on this point.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I'm 100% sure of that.
I was wondering, I read something that you were in corporate world before this? Were you in the corporate world before you went into comedy, or was that just one of your jokes? Because I heard.
Yes, I was. I was. And no, it's true. I have a few jokes about that. I haven't developed into a longer routine, but I was a trained accountant and tax advisor by
Oh,
KPMG. Um,
Yeah.
wow.
I know, but I wasn't involved in all the corporate scandals, not to my knowledge. So
Like he's like, I was not a part of Enron.
Just the
Um,
accounting part. I just balanced the numbers. That's it. That was an interesting switch from being
no.
an accountant to going into comedy, because I was an accountant and I went into playing music. So it's just interesting that that was your background. What made
Oh,
you make the switch?
we,
Isn't that
we
interesting?
need a digital
Something
high
about
five.
accounting.
It is interesting.
so true. Um,
I think it's part.
Go ahead.
I would say it's part of like a midlife crisis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what I realized because I was preparing financial documents, and all they are waiting for is the legal day they can be destroyed.
Me
Right.
too. That
So
was my
you have
reason.
a legal retention date, and I realized that wait a second, and I just thought, does that mean when I die, everything I've ever created will just be gone? And what's
I
the whole point of this life then? So
I
that's why
swear to you, Quan, that was my reason. That was my moment of revelation. We
Hilarious.
were looking through the boxes of
Oh,
stuff for tax things that people needed for the end of the year. And we only kept them for a few, like 7 years
yeah.
here in the US, and then you can get rid of it. And I'm like, is this what I missed lunch for, what I worked late for, what I like stressed over that ends up in a box in a room and then we can throw it away in 7 years? Like, is this what I'm doing? I swear to God, that was my reason.
Oh my God.
Reason.
I wonder whether
And
I
I
wonder whether the baby accountants now are less likely to quit because they only see the files in the cloud. They don't see the
went,
physical boxes anymore. But I
You know
was the
what?
same.
That's
Yeah.
true. That is so true.
revelation. Isn't that funny? Like, that was my revelation too. Like, what's the point? And I signed up for vocal classes the next day. And, I didn't quit right away, but that's so funny. That's,
Quan, what is
That's funny,
your
but Phil, you're
what
yes.
what did your family think when you said I'm getting out of, finance and I'm gonna do comedy now?
Oh, they were like, we didn't raise you to be a loser, but
ah, ah,
there's a long history behind this because my parents run business, like a family business. They're
Yep.
businessmen. And my mother in particular is quite successful. She always wanted me to study commerce and finance and accounting in particular. So I will become her CF. And I studied journalism. And I came to the UK and I studied politics and economics.
Okay.
But then I really wanted to stay in Europe, so I need to find a job that will offer me a work permit. And the only job that will open that to non-EU citizens are consultants, bankers, or accountants. And
Mhm.
I only got one job offer. So this is how I sort of settled for a career I didn't fully like. And I put up with it for as long as I can. And after I got the permanent residency, I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna put up with this shit.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. In short, yes.
Funny. That is so great. And now you're like you obviously you're having good success. You're getting booked at different places, like London, you're performing, you were here, you were in you said you started in Berlin, which is fantastic. And my question is always, do you feel like the humor, there's always like a little what's the word? When you a little there's you're full of nerves that jokes won't translate. Like,
Oh
well,
yeah.
yeah, like I hosted things and I would crack a joke or something over here and it would be like really, really quiet. And I'd be like, what? what? Like, like I was introducing someone and I said that they were like actually Lucy Spraggan, who's a big deal now. But back at the time, she was like a solo performer at this arts festival, music festival, and I introduced her as Lucy Spraggan from Walsall, and nobody said anything, and nobody clapped, and I'm like, what the hell? And then the British person that was like the stage director came out and whispered in my ear, "It's Wool Soul. Nobody knows what you're saying. It's not Wall."
Oh,
I was like,
oh,
oh my God. It wasn't even that the jokes weren't translating, it was my accent
oh
was
my
fucking everything
gosh.
up. It was totally like my accent was fucking everything up. I would say Birmingham instead of Birmingham.
Birmingham,
Yeah.
Birmingham.
Yes. Do you mean Lucy Spraggan that went on X Factor a long time ago? Is that the person? Because when you say Warsaw, I thought you meant the Polish capital. I'm like, what was this? Why? I don't think Spraggan sounds like a Polish.
It's true. It's from a little
So
town
to
outside of
answer your
Birmingham. Yeah.
question, UALS
ALL.
was SALL, right? Yeah. Okay. Yes, that's true. So to answer your question, first, I'd like to say the definition of success is very subjective. I'm really glad I'm getting booked, but in the current economic climate, it's very difficult to make a living just by doing comedy gigs.
Oh, definitely.
Especially the industry has shifted so much after the pandemic. So I'm grateful for what I have, but I want more because I'm a greedy whore. And
I'm a greedy whore. We all are.
but secondly, on that jokes or sense of humor, you can't translate it or you will fail in a different room. That's what I'm very interested in because I'm always fully aware I have an accent for the British, and British people are very picky with accent. Like even slightest amount of difference, they can pick it up. And also, I've always learned American English before I came to the UK. So I think some people say on top of my Chinese accent, there's always a bit of twang. And some of the words I've sort of adopted Britishism, but I can't get rid of the American twang. So it's kind of mixed there. And people only hear the bit that's different from them. So Americans and Brits will also always find out about my Chinese accent, even though I'm from Taiwan. But the Americans went twang. And I kind of depending on who I talk to, my accent will also shift. If I stay in Taiwan for like a week or two, when I go back, it sounds so offensive, like I'm playing a sitcom character.
I understand that fully, man. My wife goes back to Australia. Like normally she sounds very British and proper, and then she goes to Australia, and when she comes back, she sounds like she was out working in the bush. And she's like this Australian, and then it takes her a couple of days to settle back into the British. So I fully understand that. Yeah.
Like me with my New York accent.
Yeah.
I tried not to have it for so long because I was playing country music. And then if I get upset or like, pissed off, whatever, it just comes right out. Like I can't. But I noticed with your accent, Quan, it was like British, but also Chinese, like a mixture. It was a very interesting accent. I find it to be. I thought it was not a twang, but something like I heard was a real British sound. So I wasn't sure where you were from. And then I saw one of your stand-up routines where you said you were from Taiwan, and people think it's Thailand.
Yes.
Thailand. Well, yeah, I get that. Quan, do you have any like aspirations?
Some people guess some.
Do you have aspirations to go to America to take a show to America at some point?
Of course, I'd love to, but I think if I just go and perform without legal right to do so, I think I'll be in big trouble if I get caught.
Now,
I don't know how you call your border agency, how do you call that? But like UK is quite relaxed about this. I'm pretty sure lots of Americans came over to do stuff on a smaller scale. They haven't submitted any application and they're like, yeah, we have too much work. We're not paid enough to go after these comedians. In Berlin, I trust your magic, the invisible wand. Okay. The Berlin comedy scene is mostly expats. And the majority group in Berlin, the expat, are Americans. So when I started comedy, I hear more jokes from American people. So that's why when I came, because I had lived in London for more than 10 years before I moved to Berlin. So when I came back and tried to do comedy in London, I had a bit of cultural shock because it's quite different.
Yeah,
So
it is.
Oh, I was I was aware of the different tastes from the audience early on, and then if you try to go out of metropolitan London to the suburbia, or
Yeah.
to the more rural counties, they also have a different, and they're at the speed at which they can accept an immigrant's accent also varies. Like in London, I don't have to address my accent too much, but when I go outside London, I have to give them time and sort of make jokes on my accent a bit more. So when they get used to it, I can start talking about something else.
Yeah.
And I actually have a whole podcast about this. I have a podcast called Comedy with an Accent, and I interview mostly non-native English speakers who do English comedy.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's you're very spot on with that. When I would go to shows or do, hosting gigs and stuff in London, everything went very smoothly. But the further out I went, you are right. You need to give them time
Yeah.
to adjust for a little bit. They're not exposed to a lot of cultures. They're on farms, they're like milkmen and potato growers. So they're not like going to shows and they're not, whatever they see is literally on BBC One. That's their exposure to any culture. So you do have to
Yeah.
give them a little bit of time.
And
Fun, yeah.
yeah, and I am a lot. Like I am camp, I'm high energy, I'm much plumper, a curvier than a typical Asian man that I imagine. I'm also much taller, okay? Saying that no, sorry, JD, so my accent reflects of my life journey where I have been, and they'll be like, what is this weird pinching panda stuff doing on stage? So
Makes
that's why I need to let them get used to me first.
You yourself
You're
are
very
what do you call it? Melting pot. You
Yes.
are
Yeah.
a
All in one
melting pot,
person.
in one person. That's perfect.
Or
But
are
I
you
love
saying
it.
just the leftover stew?
That it is too.
I think you're adorable, Quan. What did I say, Denise, the minute you
Thank
sent me?
you.
I
Oh.
know. I sent her your the stuff that Emma sent to me, and I said, "Isn't he adorable?" She was like, "Oh." But yeah, we're super thrilled to have you, and we wish you so much success in Edinburgh, and we thank you for getting up at 4:30 in the morning to do this.
Too.
We are going to
Yeah.
let you go back to bed, maybe have a little snack, and then go back to bed. That's perfect.
Thank
We
you for
have,
having me. It's been a
oh,
pleasure. Thank you so
honestly,
much.
good luck with
Thank you.
everything. Thank you for doing this. Take care, honey.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Too loud, but we scream and we'll never bow. Tears and scars forge this steel. No more doubts, this power's real. We are unbroken, we're the storm. All their rules, we've torn apart the norm. No apologies, hearts ablaze, we're the sun, we're the endless days. Rise up, fighters, we won't back down. Voices loud, tearing through the ground. Every wound's a badge we wear with pride. Never surrender. We've got the fire inside.